In today's episode of Coffee Charged Conversations, we sit down with Kutlwano Yika. He's known for his viral videos on TikTok and Instagram of him busking at the traffic lights. Today, we are going to uncover Kutlwano's real story. So for people who don't know, what is busking and how did you get involved in busking?
Well, busking is a form of appreciation given to um, a performer by the public for their art form, be it magic or music. It's all about people appreciating your performance in public.
And what was life like before you started getting involved in busking?
Well, I was just an academic at school and playing football. So I was at UJ doing my economics in econometrics. And in 2020, when COVID lockdown started, I literally had nothing to do football wise because we could not even do anything in public. So I looked at other ways to get myself entertained, and I just saw an amazing busker in the UK with millions of subscribers. She goes by the name of Ali Sherlock, and I was just fascinated by her work and the support she had from my father, and I just wanted something like that for myself. I just knew I can sing, but I was like, nah, I was the Michael Jackson in primary school, so I know how that feels. Maybe I don't like that, but I guess the love for music just got me back into it.
And did you always have that love for music?
It was always there. It was always there because I literally started primary school singing. I remember in my preschool days, I could not finish the entire Nkosi Sigelela, our national anthem, but because people knew I had the voice, they just had me there. Even if I would mumble through some of the lyrics, they just had me there and assist me. So the love of music has always been there.
And so you said that busking is performing in front of people. Is that something that comes naturally to you, or is that something you had to learn over time?
It comes naturally. It's kind of a narcissistic way of looking at it because without any crowds showing up whenever you perform, you feel like you're not doing something right. So the obsession of having people to actually give you that validation can be something seen as narcissistic, or but then it is what it is. Without a crowd, then it means other gives out different signals to people that maybe people don't like what you're doing, or maybe they don't support what you feel.
But I think it also helps having like a critic there and having people, like for some people, they perform a lot better when they have an audience. And for other people, they prefer to be alone or at peace when they do their art.
No, true. That's why there's different genres of music. Some music is soulful, some music is sad. So you wouldn't want necessarily to have people watching you when you're crying. Maybe that song was inspiring you to talk to your kid that you lost, right? But then there are people gonna relate to that because you just given up a relationship between a parent and a son, or a parent and just a child, right? And many people can resonate with that. So it'll definitely get to the ears of many people, and in that way you get support. But you did not actually plan to get to as many people. You were just writing a song to just ease out your emotions and just write everything that you felt at that time, express your feelings. And yeah, many people, if they resonate with it, it gets to many ears.
So where was the first place then that you set up? Can you talk me through what that day was like?
Well, obviously, performing with the little speaker that I mentioned, I was in my township in Kutlwano. I just performed not knowing much about sound engineering, reverb, and I just thought I sound a bit funny, but I people just kept on listening and listening to the next song. I was like, okay, maybe if I get a much bigger speaker, it might sound nice. It just sounded the same, but people just kept on listening. I think it's the fact that people felt that there is patrician in this. they can see where I'm going with this. And as time went, I obviously learned more about sound and if I'm sounding good or not. And yeah, um, I took on from then and went to Alberton, where I felt that more people would support me, as whether we like it or not, economics plays a part. If people live in the suburbs, they probably have more disposable income to spend on luxury options like music, because not many people can afford to just pay a ticket and watch music.
So, what was the initial reaction that people driving in their cars had when they saw you singing at the traffic lights?
What I meant, I just felt people would just carry on with their day as if they saw a guy singing at the traffic lights and they just moved. But then as soon as I saw an old lady with her daughter, um, just like they literally, I felt like they wanted to throw money at me, but they just kept on waving at me, and then they showed me the money, and I went there and I asked them. They said I sound brilliant. Like, okay, I don't think I sound brilliant, but then I'll take it. And from then on, people gave us money, and I remember I made like 340 rand, and it felt like a lot because I went there deciding to go to the mall, not to perform at the traffic lights. So for me, it was like making this much at the traffic light. Imagine if I had some people to assist me and if we spend more time. And that's literally what I've been doing. And from then on, it meant I could gather more support and have more people knowing much about me.
And so, you couldn't actually perform at the mall at that time because of COVID.
Yes. And obviously, as time went on, I just found that malls were not actually keen on having any performers. So I think with Busking, that's another thing that is not going to take South Africa to the levels of the UK or America. We might have all the money in the world, but it will have this unequal society gap, just being unequal. It's not the fact of you know racial lines and demographics. It's just the culture of not like an example of tipping in America. People tip for even something that you feel like this was a job though. Wow, how am I supposed to tip you for a job? Whereas if I perform like this, people will see it as begging, and you're like, okay, in the UK, people make artists from busking. Your Ed Sheeran of this world from busking, Adele busking. So when are we gonna have our big stars? So do we need a record label? And then from then on, you just have a big star, and then you know how it goes. As time goes, an artist gonna complain and say, "Yeah, I've been robbed of my denims. I got the bad deal." But knowing pretty well that this person never worked a day in their life, they don't know much about business. They don't know. They don't have the greatest relationship with people, because without without my supporters, I'm nothing,
Hmm.
right? And so that's why I'm like, I need to know what you think about how I sing. Like, although you're not gonna tell me how to sing, I need to know, like, why did you have to give me 1,000 rand? Some people would just give me money and be like, we know you. What does that mean to my performance today? So a lot plays into what I think every single day. That's why I'm like, every single day I want to go out there before.
In South Africa, we get quite used to seeing beggars though at the traffic lights, at most traffic lights. So, I do think it is different to the US, the UK, the rest of the world in that sense. But I think a lot of people might see what you do and just assume that, oh, it's like another form of begging. How do you differentiate between begging and basking?
Going back to my point, why I'm saying, even with the greatest effort politically that we can make, we'll never get to the levels of the first world countries like America and UK. They've always been at the forefront of any development, of any innovation, right? So we just catch up on late, right? You need a validation of a certain country, then we just couldn't it.
Mm.
That's why I'm saying you're gonna struggle. There are many beggars in America, in the subways, and that's in the subways. That's where you find buskers in America, and then in the UK you still have beggars, but they don't have performers at the traffic lights. I decided to go where there are beggars already, and that has enforced me to change the way I dress, my board as well. It can't be something that I wrote. It has to be professionally done. But people then think this guy's too good for the street. How can we even support him?
Hmm.
And then that's the double-edged sword with try to change perception. Is like now people are gonna think you have a lot of money now. You don't need their support. So what does that mean? Does it mean I stop performing at the traffic lights? But that has been my story. That has been the reason why I get the gigs. That's it. That has been the reason why I'm here on this podcast. So I don't know. Maybe some people want to show people that okay, I'm getting to the level of success that you probably wanted me to get to. But then that's gonna really, take away from people looking at you and the level of humility you might have heard maybe years before you started. So I don't know. Um, I'm not gonna shy away from this experience of performing at the traffic lights, but obviously getting more gigs and being busy, it'll mean I get to perform less on the road, but I'm still gonna do it.
But you enjoy what you do.
Exactly. And that's what sells. I don't think if I were performing at the mall, I would have gotten a radio interview or having a story said about me on the news. People want something just out of the box. But the thing is, people want to have a story of struggle. And if you look at this guy, he's doing it on his own, but then he needs your help. We have the record label owners, and the thing is, the record industry is dead. Um, People used to make a lot of money with um, CDs and cassettes. Now it's streams, right? It's just you marketing your music and hoping that it blows up. And if it blows up and you have a chance of getting bigger gigs, bigger events, sponsors, people wanting to link up with you, and then that's how you make a lot of money.
But
But in that time, you're hoping that you probably have much more leverage for yourself to say than I've gained so much, be it financially or in other ways.
But I think what you've done so well is you recognized that these days you kind of need to have a bit of a social media presence. And, the best way to get out there is to be on camera. And I think for you to not only sing at the traffic lights, which was something very new to you, but to bring a camera with as well, I think that was genius.
It is genius, but it's also risky because people tell you, aren't you, afraid of thieves? Because people just take your phone and run away with it. So, um, obviously, I had regrets with the fact that I could not be on TikTok earlier on when it was still like blowing up, right? But I was like, nah, you need development as an artist. You can definitely hear the difference when you started and now. Can definitely tell that okay, I did suck. I could not pronounce some certain words, the way I wanted to. So the development from being viral, it gets taken away. So you need to just hone your craft. The social media is there. Is another way of getting you there. Some people could have just seen me and just got me a record label, and then I'm on traditional media. Then social media is just a plan B. So for me, I didn't want people to just know me as a TikToker or a YouTuber or someone they know from Instagram or Facebook. So I just wanted to ensure that even if it happens that there's no more TikTok, people can still know about me, right? So being on the camera in 2025 is very crucial. That's one of the things that I'm looking into um, investing in, like live streaming and having the best, sound I could have, the best sound experience for my audience. Then I would feel like I've done something good. The numbers would definitely make sense as time goes, but for now, what's important is to have the basics 100%.
So I saw that two of your your main videos each got 1.4 million views on TikTok. Did you ever expect it to get to that point?
Never now, because on the first account, I definitely tried to see how I got viral, but I have two accounts on TikTok. One is an experiment, and the other one is the way I started, right? So with this other account, one video just got 1 million views twice. And I was like, okay, when I have other videos, it doesn't do anything. And I did it again. It's now at 250,000 and it's going up again. So looking at another million for the same video, but I just changed the caption. So there's something about that song by Elton John, which is Sacrifice. Maybe people like that. I don't know. If they love that rendition, I wouldn't lie. I'm not like Mr. Beast who's gonna try to tell you how to crypt the algorithm and the code. It's not gonna work, because I have other videos that can't even get to me, and I think are so brilliant that even in ultra HD. So like, what's but that other video is in 720p.
But don't you think that sometimes we worry too much what other people think? So if a video that we didn't really like gets 1 million views, and then the one that we put all of our effort into and then we love got, I don't know, 40,000 views, then we go, I don't really like. You almost start convincing yourself it wasn't as good of a video.
True. But then another thing is with being viral, it's not like the ultimate thing any content creator should look into. Because with how viral the video has gotten, I've kind of, it's like I've got a mixed reaction of what people think of it. Like, obviously I had my board at that time, and people just saw me as the beggar that I did not want people to see me as. Right? People will be like, God bless him. Oh, I hope someone, this is lovely. I hope it we're the good label owners. And they're just like, ah, this is a nightmare. And then I try to change the caption to push my narrative, to say, imagine this, doing this and just showing people and seeing if they like it. And they actually changed. I actually changed their mindset to say, this is what I wanted you initially to talk about. Just talk about the music, talk about the experience, not talk about if me. What if I'm not really poor? If I was rich, and then what were you gonna say still? You. So don't take away from the music and the experience. You see, so that video also got 1 million views. So does it mean I have to scrap the other video that got 1 million views with the negative reaction? Not quite. I just have to adapt to how social media is. If there's someone who said, as more successful you become, you're gonna attract the ills of the world. Well, people gonna feel jealous. They're gonna, even though they're not really against you and the music or whatever you do. They just want to say something bad so that they can feel good about themselves. So don't take any of the emotions and mask it on yourself. So yeah, it's life, and I'm just starting to enjoy it as an adult.
Were there people that discouraged you or hated on you during your journey?
Not intentionally though, I would say. Obviously we have other musicians that when you get into the same space, they kind of feel like maybe I don't deserve it. I don't have a guitar, I don't play any instrument. I only use what I feel. At the end of the day, it's what links with people. You could play a guitar all day long. It's not gonna have the same impact as someone singing. Hence, people would say, um, you know, your vocalist would be the lead of the band or the superstars of this world, right? But then um, you still have people who are saying true musicianship is into you playing an instrument, right? And so I get people saying, nah, you should play an instrument, people take you more seriously. Or, nah, you don't play an instrument, you're just okay by yourself. So I don't know if it's ever bad criticism or good, but I know for myself that obviously I want to shape myself into an artist that I actually look forward to being in maybe 4 years or 5 years time, right? It's all about development. So um, I know that people who do pop music, and for them it's like all about youth and performing well. They're in their 20s or their teens. For me, it's like you're gonna grow with this. Your music needs you to have life experience. So you can't just talk about marriage. You haven't been married. You don't know much about marriage. How can you talk about kids? You don't even have kids. You don't have friends. You have kids. You don't know their problems. So imagine me as a 17-year-old talking about that. You just feel like this person, you're not there yet, man. You're just reading with me. So with this, it creates anticipation. People are like, no, I can give him 5 years of my time to see what he's gonna talk about, but with his own music. So that's why I'm saying you can have followers. The audience has followers, supporters, and fans. Everybody wants fans. You can have a million followers, but you're never gonna have a million fans, right? But yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten any negative criticism. Even if it was intentionally as that, I won't see it as that, because in my mind I'm like, let me listen to what you. I'm always looking forward to hear what other people have to say about me. So I wouldn't take it negatively as such.
So when you went viral, all of a sudden, did you start feeling a little bit of pressure to now keep that momentum going now that people knew who you were?
To be fair, when I got viral, the first video on TikTok, I was like, whoa, I can see this is actually happening, because everybody who went viral, I just felt like the lives are changing. So I feel like, okay, real changes are gonna happen. But as soon as I went to the comment section and had having to keep up with the comments, I feel like, nah, we're ready to have this lifestyle. Maybe I need to have people, a team that will deal, the PR team will deal with the comments and everything. I don't want to deal with having to say thank you, and because sometimes people might think just saying thank you for just saying it. Now, I'd rather have 10 people to say thank you to, then they'll feel like I actually have a reason to say thank you, because only 10 people. When it's a million people, it's like, no, you don't, you know. But then I felt like there could be changes, and I could feel it when I was performing on the road. People would be like, so you're from TikTok. But what does it mean for me and my business? At that time, I did not have my company, thank God. Um, but then it meant no gigs. It didn't mean like I could have many people reaching out to me for gigs. The gigs I got were straight from the people who said, I saw you on the road, because I asked them, where did you see me from? So I saw you from the road. Like, that's what I wanted to see. If there was no social media, how was I going to become a success?
But I think a lot of people almost chase virality. I mean, as a podcaster myself, I often see sponsored ads coming my way saying, do this and you will go viral. And it appeals to me. I go, that's kind of what I'm looking for. But I think a lot of people don't really know what's on the other side of virality. They think virality equals success.
Which is not. You could spend a lot of money of promoting your video, and it doesn't get any traction. It doesn't get any sales, no revenue whatsoever. So with being viral, it's okay. I mean, you can get your meme out there, your business out there, but that's why I'm saying, like, building that authentic relationship with your people is what, because you don't want to be viral and then the next time someone becomes viral and then they forget about you. So there's always a bad situation, right? So what you want is to build a relationship with people, and then they become committed to it. It's like you being in a relationship with your other half. It'll be difficult for them to just say, I'm gonna dump you today. So the same with your followers and your audience. You just need to develop a strong relationship with them, and then they'll support you in the long run. It's a long run game.
Mm. You see, I think with technology and the reliance that we have on our phones, we are so easily distracted these days. And even with videos, if something isn't within the first 3 seconds grabbing you, without even noticing it, subconsciously we move on to the next one. And I think it's the same thing. I've spoken about it before, but like with cryptocurrency versus investing, people always want the result, the quick fix, but they don't enjoy working on the process. So everyone wants to go viral, but I think the misconception is, and I also think like this sometimes, but the misconception is once you get that virality, you've made it. So people are going to recognize you and you're going to get all these opportunities and everything's just going to be laid out for you. But I feel like that's where the work actually starts. Now you've got all the attention on you.
Going back to development, right? People obviously look into the story of winning the lottery. That's basically it, right? Someone would be like saying, "Oh, why weren't you on idols, for instance?" I'm like, okay, and then if I want idols, then what? I don't think $1 million is any money for me. I could make that. Trust me, I could make that if I was super viral in TikTok. Then it would mean, all these singing competitions are, you know, as pointless as they can get, right? So people don't want the hard work. They don't want. That's why people would now use the phrase, work smart and not don't work hard, because now it sounds much easier than working hard. But whether you like it or not, working hard is not necessarily bad. Like, look at it. It's not like you are a mimer working at a gold mine and working very difficult hours. No, the thing is, you are honing your craft, you're honing your skill, right? Imagine if I put someone who can't sing, but they can sing maybe one song and they go viral on that song. And then now you put them in, they can't sing other songs. You see, now it is the same as someone who won maybe idols, but they had not put maybe 5 years into honing their skill. They won this money, they got all the gigs, and then now they feel like they're kind of empty. That's actually indicating that that's where the work starts. Now people need your own songs. That's why many people say, "Oh, after Imus, the winners actually don't have good music of their own," because there was no music of their own when they started. It's a different ballgame if you went with your own music and then I was just elevated you and then you just gave them your music and then people fell in love with your music. You can't, because people want that story of, oh, you changed your life. It's like winning the lottery. And then you know the story, how it ends. Everybody blows that money. Everybody blows all the earnings they got from the lottery.
So
You forget about the people who won all those singing competitions.
So you've done covers mostly in all of your videos, and I'm sure that a lot of people have come to you and said, when are you going to release your own music?
Yeah, that happens to everybody. And I think that is the differentiating thing from those who are going to make it through busking and those who are not going to make it through busking. Busking is a career, trust me. In other societies, it is a career. Like I mentioned, in the UK, you could busk until you almost to dying, basically, right? But then you don't want to be complacent. You don't want to feel like you're now at the point of being stagnant and what is happening, because you're always going to be that jukebox that people want you to play this song that they like. Even if you have your own music, they'll be like, "Ah, we like your music, but we love this more," because you kept on waiting and waiting and need you, right? Whereas for me, I'm like, I've given people this idea that I could sing different music, and I could I don't do requests that people do. If you request a song, be like, I don't know that song, but
You do it for you.
yes. So people are just ready to be entertained by not necessarily me playing the favorite song. Then after I sing their favorite song, they are gone. There's no relationship there. So it's better for someone to listen to me the entire set I did to say, and then that way I feel like this person is actually my support. The only thing left is for me to convert them into a fan, and that's me getting in my music. Maybe I'm gonna talk about them in that song that I'm gonna create and say what is it about me that keeps you, staying here, and they might maybe try to understand what I mean by that, because then they'll know, okay, this guy mentioned something that actually resonates with me somehow. You
So I've seen one of your gigs. I was actually here at Prison Break at Sam Quinton events. And I mean, you have an incredible voice. Why do you not enjoy the gigs as much as the busking?
It's a paid gig. It's it's the fact that I have to do everything according to what the client wants. It's basically a job work, right? Whereas with Busking, I'm just doing that. Even if I miss a lyric, I won't feel like I've done something wrong. Whereas at my gig, I have to make sure my focus levels are at 100%.
So it's got that added pressure.
Exactly. But then working with special, wonderful people like Joanne, she actually gave me carte blanche to perform at this market, yeah, Prison Break market, right? The way she approached me, it was super respectful. It was not like someone seeing me as someone begs or someone who's bored on the road. She just saw that, okay, I'm doing something great, but she felt like I could be exposed to the clientele that I want. And that was a big pull for me to say, okay, I'd rather be there. Right. And the first time I went there, I was not expecting any remuneration. I'm not gonna say do something for free, but I expected no remuneration. But then I knew this was my audition to saying this is my promise. And ever since then, Joanne just saw my value, and I just loved working with her. And the thing is, she tries to ensure that I feel the same way as if I'm basking. She never tells me these are the songs you have to sing. This is how long you're gonna sing your set. She actually asked me, I obviously have this event for this long. How are you working around it? That's carte punched. It doesn't feel like work.
So I mean, there will be people who watch this episode, and I actually highly encourage them to get you it for some sort of function or gig or event, whatever you want to call it. But how would you show up as your best self? What you would need a little bit of freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not sure if I'm veering away from the question, but then yeah, it's lovely to have all of those gigs, and but it would still put me in a different situation where people have to link my work to my fee, which I don't even have. Right. So I try to shy away as much as possible from doing like any other gig out there. That's why I said I always say like corporate gigs. They're simple, like less pressure, less stress, get paid on time, treated with respect. That's what you want. That's decent life. That's a decent life.
But I think it's quite cool that you have your way of performing. It doesn't have to be everyone else's ideal way of performing in front of a big crowd. If you prefer performing at the traffic lights and that's what brings you joy, then who cares what anyone else thinks?
But then it also has the problem of people thinking, what, you still at the traffic light, like, and those are people who probably never followed you on your social media. They don't see your progress. So still, you need to know who you also care about as a person. I mean, if someone has no value to you, but only problems, and if you take that input, you only hurting yourself. So it's much better to say, okay, I'm going out there again at the same spot, hoping to see someone different. Always can meet someone who uses that role all the time, and I'll definitely know them. And I'm not expecting them to give me any support financially, but even high, it's okay. It makes my day. It's okay. I saw you this time, and I link up with them on social media. We do talk. So for me, um, performing per se on gigs, it's also nice, but then performing at huge crowds is what I want. Like performing at festivals, that's my kind of thing. But obviously, I'm performing covers, and it's very difficult for promoters to book me because you want something that really makes me stand out. And with social media and going viral, a certain song links you up with people think it's your song sometimes because they know you for that song, and that makes it even simpler for promoters to book you for that song. You see, so that's always a different situation to ensure that you can make it work. So the thing is, with most musicians or any other people who are in the art industry, they're super discouraged because they just want to just getting instant validation and support from people, and they're forgetting that it's all about a relationship, right? And so with me Busking and knowing that it's seen as begging, and still I'm still going there because I'm like, it doesn't matter what they think. I'm gonna find someone who's gonna think the same, who's gonna be on my level of thinking. They're gonna book me for the gig that I probably want. It's a much better bet, right? Than someone who's gonna say, maybe someone will link me with this guy because they know this guy. This guy's gonna talk to this guy, and then this guy's gonna give me a gig. Doesn't work that way. That's not how life works. That's not how business works. You just need to expose yourself. I probably have about 2,000 people seeing me every single day. So that's a lot of people to see me every single day. In a month, that's definitely over a quarter of a million people. That's the exposure I need.
And what's next for you?
In the interim is to travel. So relocating from Johannesburg to Cape Town is what I'll definitely do. Um, Many people have told me that Cape Town has many tourists than Europeans, and I know what works for me. Um, I know that Cape Town versus Johannesburg. The other thing is the lifestyle. The difference in the lifestyle is not necessarily because of the nature reserves, and it's not about that. It's just the fact of the type of people they get to attract. So if they attract more tourists, they attract people from all over the world. People from all over the world probably have the same culture as the societies that are more welcoming to what I do. So you could probably find more Americans in Cape Town than in Johannesburg, or more,
But there's
so-
also more money in Cape Town.
no, that another thing is more money to be spent in Cape Town. You could make your money in Johannesburg and spend it in Cape Town.
And for people that haven't followed your story or perhaps would like to continue following your story, where can they find you?
Well, the the ultimate platform for me is YouTube, as it's gonna empower me even more. TikTok is good. Many people probably know me from TikTok, but YouTube is my ultimate thing because it's very hard to ever actually gather your following there. So to subscribe on my YouTube channel, which is really, really modest. It's like a very, very small page at 500 subscribers. So yeah, if you join the journey, you probably are one of the first people gonna enjoy it, because yeah, that's my main focus. So if you see me at 10,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, don't be surprised because most of our efforts would be on that platform. So Instagram is just to see any post of our gigs, but then if you need anything music wise, TikTok and YouTube.
So while you're at it, talking about subscribing, hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this episode, and please let us know what you think in the comments.